Hello, everyone, and welcome to my universe. So, oh man, this week was interesting. So, once again, I was trying to go for a full implementation of splitters, and I got it. I'll say, just for splitters on their own, it's fine. I think it works pretty well. The real problem is when you start wanting to draw pipes in circles, like, I'll just show a quick example here. I won't attach it to anything because I think that will just make things crash right now. But say you get something like this, and actually my general example, I like to do it like so. So we get a couple of splitters in here, and I changed my mind. I'm gonna do it the way I was gonna do it before. I think it's easier to demonstrate. Alright, so we get a merger up here, and a splitter up here. Yes, they're terrifying. They've been haunting my nightmares all week. And then you do something like this, so you can see that, it comes out and then goes back around. We want people to be able to do this. This is really important. The recursive pipes, as we're calling them. You don't really need balancers in this, though, because there's no throughput limits. But it's more about just getting things from place to place, but it's fine. It'll be great. But yes, we want people to be able to do stuff like this, because doing stuff like this will mean that you can divide your stuff into thirds instead of just half. Or quarters. And so that's pretty important, and being able to let the pipes loop around like this is an absolute nightmare. It's terrible. I have something that works for most cases, but the problem is that it's kinda hacky, and but very much operates on this works case by case, and I have to think about like every case. And if there's one I don't think of, then the whole game will crash. So, that's pretty bad, and I'm hoping to find a better solution, but I don't even know where to begin at the moment. So, kinda putting this part on hold, and I'm gonna go work in some other parts of the game while I try to think of something better. But for now, let's implement the solution that works for, probably 95% of cases, if not more. I mean, we're having to make some really cursed stuff to make bad things happen. So, overall, what I have is pretty solid. Whew. But, before I get too much into that, in order to test some of this, I ended up implementing underground pipes. So I'm gonna go bring those in first. So, let's see, I need to open my dev version here. I haven't done that yet for some reason. So, let's grab that real quick, and then I can start copying the code over. Alright. So, for the undergrounds, let's make a new scene here. It'll still be an Area 2D, just like the rest. And, as usual, I'm just gonna start with rectangles and whatnot. Someday these will get proper graphics, but right now, rectangles are perfect. So I decided to make them black. I'm just gonna make them look like what I'd have in my dev version. It works fine. I'm just taking a look at that real quick. Okay. So usual stuff. And yeah, that should be fine. We'll put it in the middle. Oh wait, no, you're not supposed to be the building. You're supposed to be the building. There we go. That's important. The whole thing is the building, not just the rectangle. Okay, let's see here. I think I had it like 30 by 30, and if it's wrong, that's okay. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. It's not really that important. This is all just placeholder stuff anyway. And one more rectangle to show the bottom. There we go. Nice and adequate. Give it the collision. I'll just keep it. Oops, I was holding down the wrong button. That was not Alt. There we go. Okay, so this is going to be the first one. This is the initial one where stuff goes in. And now let's make the one where stuff comes out. Oh, wait, I should name you first. Underground pipe start. Perfect. And now we'll make the end. Area 2D. Yep, there we go. This is going to be underground pipe end. And then sprite. And then rect. Okay, in this one I reversed the colors. I made the background white and then the center part black. That seems fine. As long as I can differentiate all of them, then that's perfect. Alright. And then more general good news, because I wanted to ask a question about how to handle some recursive pipe logic on the Godot forums. I now have my code very thoroughly commented. I do have a public repository up for it on Git, so I'm just going to make the whole game open source, so feel free to steal my code if you want. Or, I don't know, just look at it to help you with your own games, or if you're just curious. So it's all out there, and now everything will be or at least part of the code. The part of the code relevant to pipe pathing is all going to be super commented now. Or I very thoroughly explain what is happening. Alright, so there's... And, oh yeah, I guess I should save these. That seems important. Let me put you in the building group. Well, thank you. And hello there, Widgety. Yes, I've been having a great time figuring all this out. And it is all out there now. Alright, and that's all I really do with these, so I can close them. We're starting to get a lot of things out here. And frankly, at this point, I don't think I really have to keep them all on the screen anymore. Okay. So yeah, I'm just gonna copy and paste everything over. I have a few variables to add to everything here. Actually, I guess I can't copy and paste that because the IDs are going to be different. But we have the underground pipe start. Okay, and copy. All right. And here, there we go. There's the ending one. And I actually only add the starting one to the array because you have to build the starting one in order to build the ending one. I want them both placed at the same time. I literally force you to do so. Currently, I don't have anything about deletion and whatnot. I'll be worried about kind of the user experience there a little bit later because there will be shenanigans for removing it. But these only exist for testing at the moment, so I didn't worry about it for now. Maybe I'll worry about it for part of stream today, but let's just get this going. And yeah, from there, we just update all of this. So because I put a ton of comments on this, I'm just gonna copy and paste this in its current state. I've already talked about this lots on previous streams when I was actually building it, so not gonna go through it all, but I will talk about the undergrounds. Okay, then back over here. I will talk about those real quick. It's pretty simple. Okay, and now all the new stuff is here. Oh yeah, that's right. I needed a couple more global variables. You see, the code is always happy to remind me when I forgot something. Alright. So let's see, I think I just plopped those in here. Oh yeah, I don't use this one anymore, and we don't use this anymore, so we'll just get rid of those. At least I'm pretty sure I don't. Let me just double check here. Because I changed a lot of things. A lot of functions are a little bit different now. Because I had to pull so many shenanigans in order to get the splitters working. So many shenanigans. It took me like 4 tries to get it right. Most of it is good. It's just once you bring those recursive pipes in there, breaks everything. And I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to rewrite a bunch of stuff, but you know, such is life. Okay. So I'll just copy all the new globals I have there. So I have one for, are you currently building an underground pipe? Did you build the start of the underground pipe? And we need that to do a few things. Then here is going to have the location of the most recently placed underground pipe. So that this way when we place the other one, it'll work out. Ah, and hello there, Protox. Oh yeah, and last time we were here, I saw that you asked a question, but my chat broke somehow. Deeply unfortunate. As a general rule of thumb, if you don't see your message show up on screen, I don't see it either, because I use the same endpoint to put things on screen. So if that happens, feel free to drop by Twitch and tell me that my YouTube chat is broken. It would actually be very helpful, so this way I don't miss any other people's questions. But yes, you asked if Godot is the name of my game. Godot is the name of the engine I'm making the game in. So that's the game engine. The name of the game, tentatively, is Phylactery. Spelled with an F instead of a PH, because it's supposed to be kind of like factory. So, well, yeah, that's probably what we're gonna go with for now. Anyway, this broke a bunch of stuff. I'm not gonna worry about it, because that'll be fixed in a little bit. And here, yeah, just the location of the phylactery, all is well. Okay, and then in order to get this working, I need a little change in my input code here, because when you're building an underground belt, or an underground pipe, excuse me, I do not want you to be able to change what building you're building. You have to build the other half of the underground. You have to. It is required. All right. So there we go. So I put that there, and this will disable this input for when I want it to be disabled, when I want you to build the other underground. And now we can kind of get into all of the new building code. So you can see I have a bunch of commented code for now, because I talk about everything. Literally everything. So now if you happen to go look at the GitHub repository, well, it'll be a little easier to understand, at least the parts that I have started to comment. Anywho. But we're not going to talk about those. We're just going to talk about these guys. So, if you're building an underground pipe, we get, you know, the usual information. And then we set the global variable I was just talking about to its location, and we make this true, so that this way all the things that need to happen when you're building undergrounds happen. And then once you build the other half of it, we build it, and It recedes from wherever this underground location is. The way the underground pipes are going to work in this game is you can build the start anywhere and the end anywhere. You can build it wherever you want. They're very strong. Much stronger than they are in most factory games. But they're also going to be limited. So they're going to be a collectible you find out in the world. You know, like more like energy tanks or something in Super Metroid or whatever. Sometimes you just find underground pipes, and we decided since they're a reward for that they should be really strong. So you can place the start and the end literally anywhere. And so we get its usual stuff, and then we have to update the previous pipe that you just put down, the start of the underground, and make sure that it has its gives set. So this way we know where does the energy come out of this underground. Very important. And then we come further down. We build all the stuff as usual. And then if the thing that you just made is an underground, then we go to the code that lets you select the building, and we do something special. So let's go get that special code in there for this special case here. Just gotta scroll down to it. There's a lot to scroll. Anyway. Alright. So I'll just replace the whole thing here. Make sure I don't forget anything. A lot of the time I only replace small pieces, and generally I think it's a good policy, but here there has been so many extensive overhauls, we're going to replace entire functions today. Anyway, so if building underground is false, then we do the normal stuff. But if you had just built that starting underground pipe, I make you build the end. I just say, you are picking this now. You don't get a choice, you're just picking it. Go place the other side. Otherwise, things get complicated. So, when you place one, you have to replace the end. It's not going to be like in Factorio, where you're just like, wait, why do I have an odd number of underground belts in my inventory? This is concerning. No, this will never happen here, because you always have to place them together. So that's all there. And I don't let you pick anything else until this one is placed. But once it's placed, everything goes back to normal. And we just make it so that after you've placed it, your default is back to being a normal pipe. Nice and easy. Because we don't want to let you build a second endpoint. That would be awkward. Only one. Only one at a time, and right after you place the start. Okay. So now, this is where things start to get complicated again. So now we have the part that lets you build the underground, that lets you build the pipe chain. I do like Factorio. It's probably the reason we're making this game. Anyway, so yeah, now we can build all the pipes. And we got to do all that, so now we got to get into actually putting the resources through the pipes and making all that work. So we got to come down here, where we recalculate what your factory does. And I'm just going to plop in the new version, because, oh man, are there changes. There's actually not that many changes, but... And I have a bunch of print code in here that I'm going to get rid of. Do I want to get rid of it? You know, I might actually leave it there because I'm still going to have to do some shenanigans with testing, so I might just leave it there for now. Okay, it's still broken because I haven't put in the rest here. But here we are. We have all of this, and as usual, we go through all the pipes to reset the values on them first. So if it's not an extractor, we want the amount of stuff in them to be 0 before we get started. Yeah, because the point of recalculating the factory is to figure out what's going to be going into all of the pipes. That's what we do when we recalculate the factory. We find what goes in all the pipes. And you can see me having fun with debug code because coding all of this was a nightmare. It took me like 3 days, and even then I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to rewrite half of this. It's quite unfortunate. But I'll explain why when I get to the part that I think I have to do. This part is fine. So we go through. If it's an extractor, then we check to make sure the path exists. All this is doing is resetting the location of the phylactery so that this way, if the phylactery is found in the pipes later, we know that it's been found and we need to update the player stats and stuff. But it's also possible that, when the final game is done, that they might all end up in a buffer or in a pipe leading to another room or some of these other things that we plan to have. Right now, there's only phylactery and vaporizer. Vaporizer won't exist in the actual game, but yeah. And both of those are endpoints. So if we're just annihilating our resources because we feel like it, then we don't want to pretend like we got stuff to the phylactery. It's very important. All right. And, don't mind the errors right now. Don't mind the red. This will be fixed once I put in the new code for this function. But once we have identified the extractor, we want to see if this extractor has a path to an endpoint. So either the phylactery or a vaporizer right now. We want to make sure that such a path exists. And if it does, in other words, if this array that we're going to be building is not empty, then we can calculate numbers. And we can start putting numbers in pipes. I don't want to waste time putting numbers in pipes if it's not going anywhere. So we make sure the path exists first, and then we put the path in here to this function that will calculate how much stuff is going into it, how much power is flowing through your pipes. And then from there, if we found a phylactery, then we can update the values to be what's in the phylactery. And then we just update player stats. We do that regardless, because if you break your whole factory, then all your stats should be 0. Anyway, let's update find pipe path. This one, I think, is mostly the same. The main difference between this and the last version is just now that we return an array instead of a Boolean. And that's all that really happens. So let's scroll up here. So we have all of this. We set all the relevant information for what we're looking for. And then okay, I needed this extra check here because sometimes it breaks if it's not up here with splitters, because splitters make everything like 100 times more complicated. Don't worry about it. So here, while we haven't found the phylactery, I suppose I should change this to also account for vaporizers, but you know what, I should. Should I? You know what, this works, I'm not going to worry about it. We're going to use the game design credo. Working is more important than being, like, technically correct or clean. As long as I can maintain it, and as long as it works. So I'm just gonna leave it like that, because this does work. So we start building up the path array, we put the current thing into all of this. This basically checks to see if we have looked through every single pipe and have been unable to find anything. If we can't find the next pipe in the chain, and we did not find an endpoint, so a phylactery or a vaporizer, then we break the loop, and we say, nope, didn't find nothing. You don't got a path here. So we just return the empty array. And then we start looking through all the pipes, and if we find a pipe that is on the right tile, so the tile that the previous pipe feeds out into, if we find that, and we check to see if it's a phylactery or vaporizer, the code as it is now does not care which direction they're facing, so we find it right away. And if we find those, then yay, we have found a path. So return the path. And if it's not the phylactery or vaporizer, we need to make sure the pipe is facing the right way. No shenanigans with trying to feed in a pipe sideways. No, not allowed. So we make sure that it actually receives from the previous tile, from the tile that's feeding out onto this one. And if it does, then we update all the things we need to check the next pipe and see if it is connected to an endpoint or not. But before we start looping again, we have to check for shenanigans, because adding mergers and splitters leads to so many shenanigans and so many ways to break the game if you're not careful. It's terrifying. Alright, so first off, we gotta check for a merge pipe. Why? Because if we get a recursive pipe, I will draw a lovely MS Paint image for you to explain what I'm talking about. So say we have a merger here, and then it splits, and then it splits again. Yes, we've been trying very hard to break the game, and we have succeeded more than I would like. I have fixed much of it, though. Anyway, so we get a couple of sets of splitters, and then this one comes up here. Nightmares. Okay, this, the worst. The absolute worst. But we need to be able to do this, because what this will do is let you divide your resources into thirds instead of quarters or halves. So, very important to let people be able to do this. But it makes it really, really, really hard to calculate how much stuff is going through your factory. So, you know, this pipe is circular. And we're calling it recursive pipes. Anyway, this is what I spent most of the last few days trying to figure out how to do. And even then, I don't quite like my solution. Because, well, I'll explain it later. But, yes, so what this is checking for is whether or not you got these shenanigans going. So, we're checking on whether or not we got a pipe going all the way back around. And the way I check for that is I have been making this array of mergers. And if the pipe that we're looking at now is in this array of mergers, so if it's in there, then we have a recursive pipe and we should be very afraid. So we return nothing in the event of recursive pipe. There's no path here, it just goes in circles forever. And if it is not recursive, so if we just have a nice, friendly merger, so, you know, a merger just going out and doing its thing, we want to divide things into quarters instead of thirds. Oops, let me turn my picture back on there. There we go. So if we got this, then this is fine. This is fine. This mergers, you don't have to worry about it then. So we'll just add the friendly merger to the list, just to make sure it's not coming back around, but we won't find this merger again. Nothing down here connects to it. So it is a nice friendly one. And we don't have to do any shenanigans. We just add it to the list, just to make sure we don't see it again, and then we move on with our lives. Okay, and then the next bit of shenaniganry is down here with split pipes. So what we do is we got to make sure that we check both sides. And so the first thing we do is we recursively call this function that we're in right now and use the split pipe that we're currently looking at as its endpoint. As the start point, rather. And then we see, hey, if we go down one side, do we find an endpoint, a phylactery or a vaporizer? And if the answer is yes, then yay, we found a path. We don't have to do anything else. If we don't find anything, then we check the other side. And we just keep going. So that's how all this works. And then we can break here because once we have found the next pipe, we don't have to keep looking through the rest of the pipe dictionary. It's fine. So we just break out of this for loop here if we reach there. All right. So now we're getting into this. Doesn't this function look so friendly right now? It is so straightforward. It is so lovely. Well, prepare for the new version. I'm gonna need a second to copy and paste it because, oh my god. It is a monstrosity, and I can explain why I don't like it anymore. Alright, let's scroll up here. Okay. I had to pull so many shenanigans to get this to work, and even then it doesn't quite work. So I'll explain what's happening first, and then I'll say why I'm not really a fan of what's going on here. Because I do think that it is important to know what is working and what isn't. Okay. Let's just explain what it does. So this just gets some various information that we're gonna need, and I'm gonna leave my print statements in for now. Because I need these for debugging. And debugging has been really hard, but anyway, the first thing we need is the first element in this path array, the path that was found by the previous function up here. So we plop all that into an array, and we need the first thing in it. This guy is basically saying, hey, do we got splitters? Is there a splitter in here? Because if there is, we gotta do some more stuff. And then this checks to see if we have nightmares, if we have the unfriendly recursive pipe here. If we have this, then we have to pull even more shenanigans. So this is checking for that. So then we just loop through the lovely array of locations that we got, the path of connected pipes. And we check for a merge pipe. And don't worry, I will. I'm actually very proud of my progress this week, because solving the nightmares was very hard. They're not completely solved, but I've got it down to like some super extreme edge cases. Everything else is working great. But I do want to, you know, be able to get those edge cases. Anyway, so we check for if we got a merge pipe. And then, once again, if we scroll down here, if it's not on this list that I've been keeping track of, this list of mergers that we've been keeping track of, you know, much like in the previous function, I add it. And if it is there, then I clear it just to make sure that it helps, it's necessary. Just take my word for it for now. And then we put in some other values here, and we know that we have a recursive merging pipe. And so all of this here, I'll explain it all together, and then I'll do the steps. All of this is basically checking to see how many times it's looped. Because we're trying to get actual numbers now. We're trying to shove actual numbers into each of these pipes, so that this way people know how much power is coursing through their factory. And the way we do that is we take the number that was in this merge pipe on the current loop, you know, what it'll be going through on the next loop, and we check it against what was going through on the previous loop. And we see if it's a small number, basically, if it's really, really small, because as it keeps recursively going through, the difference between the next loop and the previous loop will get smaller and smaller and smaller. I can use my nightmares drawing to kind of explain that. So say we got 200 running through here. It'll reach the splitter and get split into 100 and 100. Reaches this splitter, it gets split into 50 and 50. And then 50 will come back up here to this initial 200, and this isn't 200 anymore, now it's 250. Which will then get split again into 125 and 125. Which will then get split again into, what is it, like 62.5 or something? I'm gonna check my math. 50 divided by 2. Oh no, it's 75. I'm in the wrong. This is why I check. That was for something else, okay. So now it's 75. Now we have 75 coming up here. This is no longer 250. This is now 275. Which then gets split in half again. 137.5. So you can see that the number, the amount that it's getting bigger by is smaller and smaller each time. And then that divided by 2 is 68.75. And then that comes back up here, and it keeps going. It'll go, you know, for as long as we let it. But if we let it loop until it's a very small number, then, you know, it's fine. We have a reasonably accurate approximation to the amount of decimal places that we will actually show the player. So in this case, we're going to be, with this amount, we're going to be looping probably about 10 times or so in order to calculate an accurate number. And so that's what all this does. It's just seeing, okay, when should we stop? What is the difference between what was in there before and what is in there now? All right. And then we keep going. And so here is where most of the elements get updated. This is where we add, we put how much power is coursing through the pipes into each pipe. And in order to do that, I'm actually going to explain the bottom one first, because this is what happens most of the time. When we are not dealing with recursive pipes, we go through each of the elements that exist, so water, fire, air, into earth, and we put the number in the pipe that corresponds to what's in the extractor, more or less. And we do a plus equals, because if there's more than one extractor, they need to add to what's in the existing extractor. It's important. Yeah, so it makes sense. But if things are recursive, we can't do that. We have to set it, as opposed instead of plus equals, it's just equals, and we have to set it to how to say, what is in the merge pipe. We just set it to what is in the merge pipe. We trust in merge pipe, because it has all the right info. And now we come down here and we have to check for splitters, because if there's splitters, there's even more shenanigans that have to happen. And oh boy, are they shenanigan-y. But it's actually pretty easy to understand, because what all of this amounts to, all of this, is just making sure that we check both sides of the splitter, and that if it's balanced and both sides are actually going somewhere, that we divide it in half. And if one side is blocked and does not reach an endpoint, then we don't divide it in half when we pretend like the splitter is a normal pipe. So that's basically all this does. It just has to be this way to make sure that we check every single possible path. And that's what this all does. So now I can kind of explain why I don't like it. And it being a little bit of a mess aside, I don't personally think that's a problem. You know, what I said earlier, when it comes to game design, working is more important than, like, super architecturally sound. I don't mind the code being a little bit messy, as long as I can read what's going on, and I know what's happening, and I can maintain it. If I can do that, it's fine. So I tend to go for readability more so than a perfectly elegant if statements. The reason that I don't really like it is that when it comes to the recursive pipes, the super scary nightmare pipes are unfriendly nightmare pipes here. The way that I make them work is I basically am thinking of every case I can think of, every different kind of way that this kind of thing can happen, and I put in a case for it. And that is really dangerous, especially for something that if I miss a case, it will straight up crash the game due to Stack Overflow. Yeah, because if I miss one, and the player tries it, the game's gonna crash, and I don't want that to happen. And even, you know, if I put in some kind of failsafe just to make sure the game doesn't crash, which I probably will, because a bugged code is preferable to crashing game, but even if I did that, the values would be wrong if I didn't, you know, properly account for this specific case. And I think that's also pretty bad. So I really want to try to find a situation that's an option that's a little bit more robust, and something that doesn't require me to think of every possible combination ahead of time in order to make a specific case for it. So, you know, like I said, that just sounds really, really dangerous. And it's not how I want to roll. So, yeah, that's why I don't like the code. It just relies too much on me being able to predict the future for something that I think is going to be really unpredictable. Because, I mean, you should have seen some of the abominations we tested. They were terrifying. But, you know, just to give you an idea of what you can do now, without crashing the game, I tend to like to make things with as few pipes as possible, but, you know, that situation that I showed at the beginning that would have crashed the game, yeah, you can now do it. And it all calculates correctly. So, or it did. That's actually not right anymore, I don't think. Because it should be closer to 200. Well, case in point, there are still some shenanigans with, how this is working. But I've got it working sufficiently that I think I'm good with just moving on to something else, so there we go. That's kind of what's happening. Did I forget to copy something, or... No, I think I have it all. Right. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, like I said, it's a little buggy right now, and I don't like it. But... for this one, I'm not actually sure where to even begin to go about fixing it. Yeah, that was one of the first things I wanted to try, but there were too many possible problems with it, where it just didn't quite work. That kind of thing worked as long as there was only one recursive pipe, but the second you put in two, if they didn't immediately meet up at the same place, it would all fall apart, so I just kind of had to go through it all. At the very least, I could not figure out a way to do it. If you can, I have a help thread on the Godot forum. Feel free to post it there. So, if you can find a better solution than me, please tell me about it here. And I'll be checking up on that. And let me see, I think that's all I did last week. I didn't add anything else, right? Yeah, so that should be it. I'm just double checking. Okay. So now I guess we can get into some new stuff. I'm not going to attempt to debug my recursive code yet. We're gonna keep things simple, and I'm not gonna deal with that. Later. It'll come. So let's see. For me, I think the next big thing is being able to have a second room. So right now, we just have one testing room, and this is all that's there. This has served us well, but I think it's time to have another. I'm just thinking about how to do this, because I spent all of last week trying to figure out the recursive pipes, and I haven't actually figured out how to fully construct this, so I might go back to my friendly tutorial man and let him do some guiding again. But, yeah, I think that what I want to do for today is bring in another room. And I think for the time being, rather than worry about letting the player go between rooms, I'm just going to worry about letting the grid exist between rooms. Okay. So I'm gonna prepare for that. The first thing I think I need to do to prepare for that is I made my grid and all this, you know, just kind of fixed values here. These are going to be export variables now. So that this way I can change them and use the same script for all my rooms. And I think that this is fine. So this will end up being the size of the room once I go and calculate that. Right now, I'm still just going to leave it at 1,000 by 1,000 because that's fine. It is beautifully scuffed. I like how the grid doesn't go all the way across the screen. It looks terrible. And that is perfect for placeholders. So I think this is the only one that needs to become an export, because the grid should all calculate correctly if I change that. So, you know, maybe I will change it for the next room just for fun. Yeah, I think that's the only thing that needs to change, so let's go create a new room. What did I name you? No 2D, right? Yeah. So, new scene, and it's gonna be a Node 2D, and this will be... I would like you to come up to the front here. Thank you very much. And you know what? I think I'm gonna close out all the pipes. I don't really think I need them anymore. Same in the scripts. I don't think I need my pipe code anymore. So we're gonna close all the stuff related to pipes. We're gonna clean a few things up here. Source. Yeah, I don't really need this. This is fine. So let's just have less stuff clogging up the screen here. I want to keep all the player stuff for now. That should be there. Perfect. Okay. So there we go. Things are a little bit more tidy now. Oh, I should save you. Oh, okay, right. It's gonna want me to make my little scene here. So much like I did here, can I copy and paste like this? I can. Most excellent. But this is probably going to be another instance of the same thing, and I don't want that. Please. Can I make you unique? I don't remember how to do that. Okay, you know what? Because I don't know how to do it, I'm not going to do that. I don't want them to be connected. I want to be able to change this as much as I want. So, we'll just remake it. It's fine. So once again, I'll get my black rectangle, and I'm just gonna... How did I put it on the floor down here? Is it, well, like, just right on top of it? Okay. It doesn't have to be identical. It's fine. It looks like I just put it here and then put it all the way across. Looks fine to me. And then the collision. Oh yeah, I probably should have put you down there too, huh? Okay, well, I'm about to be in a little bit of pain. Let me just take these things out of it for now. Okay. Oh no, you can stay. Stop it. Thank you. Okay. I'll try to get this a little bit more accurate here, but this is fine. Move it down a little. There we go. That's, close enough. And you will be testing room 2. Okay. So let's see here. I have to remember how I structured all of this. Okay, there we go. So now I have it saved, so now I can actually save my grid script. Perfect. Okay. And we want this guy... No, the room doesn't have a script. It's the grid, right? Yeah. Oops. One moment. I just accidentally unplugged my headphones while shifting my chair. Give me just a sec to fix... Hate it when I do that. Alright! It got caught on my leg. Okay, so... Once again, I kind of want everything that I have in here in the other room too, except for the player. The player doesn't need to be there. It's fine. So, yeah, we put on the grid. And then the sources. Okay. And grid is just a node 2D. Yeah. Yep, node 2D. Okay. Look, it's been a long time since I've had to build all this out. We've been working in one room for so long. And I believe that my sources are also just a node 2D. Yep, sure are. And you have a unique name, and I need to make sure that the name is correct here. Yes, okay. You are in the grid. That is perfect. Alright, and then I can add the sources at my leisure. Later. Let's get the script on the grid first. Where do I put that? I know I can do it, but I don't remember where it is. Oh, here it is. Okay. So, did I put that in level? No. I probably put it in buildings then? Yeah, there it is. Okay. So now this guy should have a script, or have a grid when I run it. With no sources. Wonderful. I'll wait for it to come up, just so you guys can see it too. Yay! We have a lovely scuffed grid. So I'm gonna change the grid size just for fun. Let's make it 1200 by 1000's fine there. It doesn't have to be a perfect square, but now it should go a little further to the side. Oh, I guess it does have to go be a square. That might be an issue. I won't worry about it. Huh. I am not drawing this correctly. How awkward. Well, better to find out now. Let's see. Let's go back to the grid, and let me remember how I'm actually drawing this thing. Huh, I thought when you had export variables that it would overwrite it. It should. Grid size, grid size. Okay. Now where do I draw this? Okay, line. Alright, let me see. What is cell amount? Because this looks fine to me. So cell amount.x and cell amount.y. Alright, show me what you are, because you both should be 1200. Okay, so 20. What are you in my first starting room? Are you less than 20? No, you are also 20. How awkward. Because you should have different cells, because it is calculated... I always thought that the export variables would overwrite that. Does it not? So if I kill this... Since the type can't be inferred. Should I do it like that? So does this calculate it correctly now? No, it doesn't draw it at all now. So yeah, it's not, okay. I thought that's how those worked, but this is... Let me put in the defaults again. And then... I thought that this would overwrite it. Okay, can you... When you're ready, instead of just printing it here, I don't want it ever to just be repeating endlessly in my debug console. That's a pain. So I'm just gonna have it print when it's ready. So print grid size. What did I call you again? Yeah, grid size. So we print grid size, print cell amount.x, print cell amount.y. Okay. That does not seem right. So it is getting this value correct. But... yes, we truly have to... Wait, we're gonna have to think about this, because this is weird. It is getting the number right. But 1200 divided by 50 is in fact not 20, it is 24. So I don't know why it is... being weird. And if I update it there... yeah, it reflects the number correctly. So why is it calculating my cells incorrectly? Because the cell size is still 50. So this here should be getting 24. Okay. Time for a shiny new print statement. I'm pretty sure this is just a silly thing that I am just not understanding for some reason. And it's giving me 24! So why? Why is... Why is this giving me 20 instead of 24 when it's used in the function? I thought it'd be as simple as, changing that. Okay. Maybe instead of doing it here, I should do it in ready. No, I don't think I have to go that far. But maybe I just have to set it here. It's gonna be grid... Grid... what did I call you? Oh no, your cell amount. Okay, there. Does it calculate correctly now? Okay, cool. Alright, let me prove it. Look, guys, it calculates correctly now. It goes all the way to the edge. Very exciting. And does it still look appropriately scuffed here? Most excellent! Okay. So, we will let Testing Room 2 be special. Testing Room 2 gets to go all the way to the edge. Testing Room 1 does not. Okay, and so now we're using the same script for this, so you should just be able to build everything. So this is where things are gonna get interesting. Well, okay, they'll get interesting in a little bit. The first thing I want to do, where are my sources? Where do I put those? Okay, here it is. I'm gonna put in a few new sources. We're gonna have one for fire and earth. So I'll put one there. I'm going to give it its rectangle so I know where it is. And I'll just plop it there. And this one's gonna be fire, so I'm gonna make it red. The most bright red possible. Alright, let's let this fit into the collision box a little bit better. Just so I don't drive myself crazy later. Okay, perfect. And I want to set its values before I hate myself. So we'll put in fire. And we'll say that there's 200 because I've been working with lots of oh god. I don't know what I just did, so let's reset it. Okay, 200. It has a value. It is 200. I've been working with 200 a lot lately. So I know what 200 divides into about, 50 times. I'll do another mixed one. So I'll put that one up here this time. And let me give you your rectangle. And we'll just kind of let this mirror the other side. Testing room 1. And I'll make this one red too. And you will have fire and earth. And it will be 200. No, I don't need that many. 200. Oh, right, because I'm putting that in size, not in... Okay, that makes sense. My bad. 200 and 400. There we go. So we'll have 200 fire and 400 earth. And then I'll put another one out in the corner over here. That's just earth. Okay. So up here, right there, and I'll make this one a nice, ugly brown. Maybe a little bit less of a yellow brown. Wonderful. Appropriately hideous. It looks like puke. Perfect for placeholders. All right, and earth. And we'll put, let's say 600 in here. All right. So now we have some new sources that we can muck around with whenever I want to. Now I have to think. Oh, I gotta stretch. Okay. So the next thing I need to add to my rooms, both of them ideally, would be a place where the pipes can connect between them. And this being testing room 1 and testing room 2, I want the one in testing room 1 to be on the right and the one in testing room 2 to be the one on the left. Because that makes sense to me, and all this is for testing. But I think I want to create something unique for that. So I'm gonna make what I call a transfer pipe. And that will let you transfer things between rooms. Now, this is where we have to think about the rules of the transfer pipe. My husband and I have talked about this a lot, and tentatively, they are one way. You get to decide which way they go, but they don't go both ways. So if you have something coming out here, and you're sending your water and air over to the next room, you can't send fire and earth back over here. You can't do that. The pipe is one way. And you only get one. You only get one between those rooms. So that's tentatively how it works. But you can also, if you wanted your fire and earth from over here to come over here, then that's fine. You can do that. But I'm realizing as I say all this, I think I'm going to have the player be able to transfer between rooms in order to test it, but we'll at least get it started. So, this is going to require some stuff. I'm just kind of going through the steps in my head, so you know what? Let's save this, and I'll start typing. I'll do it right here. So what do we need for room transfers? Well, 1. We need to store pipe positions so that when the player leaves and returns, the factory is as they left it. Factory. Hello there, Salmon Mode. Welcome. Must be rebuilt exactly as the player left it. So, oops. So this part, this is why I've been storing a lot of information in my pipe dictionary. I'm pretty sure I can reconstruct it as long as the script can find it again. And so what I think this means in talking to the spirits that live in the computer terms is pipe dictionary must get into global script. So this is one of those things, I can't test this until the player can transition between rooms. So I'm going to start setting up the infrastructure. Actually, I already have the infrastructure, and I think that the only thing I need is for the script that's called when I send the player between rooms. What needs to happen is just that the dictionary gets sent to the global. And, okay, so let's go ahead and get what the global script is going to need. Yes. It's we're calling it a factory Metroidvania, where instead of, basically turning your resources into science or otherwise vaporizing them that way, you're instead exploring, you're running around exploring, a la typical Metroidvania design. And then on the side, you build a factory, and the factory will let you run faster, jump higher, attack better, and have more HP. So as your factory is optimized, exploring will be much easier, and you can, jump to high cliffs, or run really fast, or you can even run through lava if you have enough HP and movement speed. It'll be great. So, your factory exists to make you strong. Alright. No, probably no roguelike elements. It's a Metroidvania. So everything is gonna kind of be predetermined, and you run through and explore it all. Yes. So, going very, very strong on the Metroidvania side of things. Okay. So now I'm just thinking, okay, how do I get this into my global script? Like, the obvious one to me was just that I have a new variable for every single room that we make. That seems terrifying, but I think it might be what I have to do. And then when you re-enter the room that has that name, you get that dictionary and it repopulates everything. Yeah. What's the challenge? Well, I described the main thing of, your... So... Am I saving and loading room states? Potentially. I'm kind of thinking, it's... Kind of. Let me answer the previous question first. So... How do you describe the typical Metroidvania loop? You start out weak, and you go and explore the ruins. And while you explore the ruins, you get additional power-ups that let you explore different parts of the ruins that you couldn't before. And while you're exploring the ruins, you're gonna go fight bosses, go find cool things, and in order to do a lot of that, you're also building the factory on the side. The factory will control your move speed, your jump height, your attack, and your HP, and some other things later, but those are the big things for now. To make it easier for you to get some of those additional power-ups. And it basically means... Oh, for the implementation. Okay. Yeah, I'm just thinking about how to implement this, where... Basically, let me go into my testing room here. Wait for it to come up. So... don't mind the scuff. I like making things. Yes, I am. But I'll just explain from the beginning here. So, don't mind the scuff. I personally like making my placeholder assets as ugly as possible. Personally, I think the fact that this grid doesn't cover the entire screen is perfect. But I like making them as ugly as possible. So this way, I'm encouraged to actually finish what I'm doing. So anyway, I'm just gonna put some stuff down. It doesn't really matter what it's doing. Look, that sure is some stuff. And, yay, something's happening. I have something rotated incorrectly, but we're not going to worry about it. So what needs to happen is I need to have all the locations of the various pipes I just put down. And I need to put them back when the player comes back into the room. And I need to make sure it's exactly the same as before. So that's what I'm thinking about right now. And incidentally, if you want to help me with a very, very, very difficult problem, I have a thread on the Godot forums about how to handle nightmare recursive pipes. So, this situation. This one right here. This is my current nightmare. So, I have a thread on the Godot forums if you would like to help with that. Anyway, this is my first game in Godot, Every other game that I've made prior to this has been basically just text. Yeah. And it's also been a long time, and I've done software development professionally for a long time. So I'm familiar with coding, but not with Godot. So I'm still kinda feeling out how I'm gonna do all the things. And it's a little bit complicated here, that because of basically everything in your factory needs to be calculating while you're off screen. So if our lovely player here happens to go into testing room 2, everything that's happening in testing room 1 still needs to be calculating. Otherwise, you know, the gameplay loop doesn't work. Because, you know, that's what determines things like your movement speed. And if this turns off while you're in another room, you won't be able to move anymore, and that would be bad. So, I think that the way that I currently have it will make it fine for that. But there are going to be some things that complicate it later, so I'm also trying to think for the future. For things that you guys don't know about yet. And that's just kind of how it is, you know, when you're developing things, so... So right now, I'm just trying to make sure that the pipe dictionary that has all the pipe information into it can get back to the room. And that everything is still calculating while you are not in the room. So the global script needs to know a little bit of stuff. Stuff that maybe for the average game you don't have to worry about it. Because, like, I mean, I've seen room transitions and stuff, and I've seen how you can store, just some basic, persistent objects. But actually getting stuff to calculate while you're off screen is not something I've seen a lot of. So that's kind of what I'm thinking of. I also want to make sure that this part knows how much stuff is in everything, and that I can properly add things together from other rooms. Various things like that. I think the case for actually getting it to rebuild this is not that bad. Yeah. Yes, precisely. And right now, it's just, okay, how do I make the general pipe structure there persist between rooms? Because each room could potentially have its own pipe structure. You can potentially build in each room within, you know, the ruins you're exploring. You're only going to be able to build in a certain number of them, but the player decides which room to build in, so it could potentially be all of them. Except for where we maybe expressly forbid it in a few places, but that won't be common. So that's where I'm just debating. How do I get this information here? How do I want to store it? And this is where, you know, the inexperience with Godot probably shows. And admittedly, this is way more complicated than any of the games I ever made in the past, so... let's see. So that is where I am, debating things here. So, already got some stuff in, the globals here. Doing it like this seems silly. Do I have to do it like that? I think I might, because I call this from off. Yeah, okay. Yes, it currently is. I mean, well, if you look at where I put the question, You can, if you want to actually see all the code, then the question on the Godot forums has it all. Just, it's where you build the building. And this is going to be where all the information is. It has all of it. And then all the stuff down here is where it's calculated. And I have all of those functions up there on the question on the Godot forum if you want to look through it all very thoroughly. Feel free to criticize how I'm putting it all together. But I already have that there. I'm just figuring it out how I want to move it between things, basically. And that's why, you know, sometimes you just gotta let me think. But yes, if you would like the thorough look at how everything is calculated, I got it right there. And that'll probably be easier than having me scroll through things on the screen, because then you can just kind of parse it at your leisure. Instead of, you know, just what I have here. Yeah, I know, it's a lot of code, because lots of stuff needs to happen, and it's a mess. Nightmare pipes, man, it's just... Oh my god, I want to die. This. Always happy to have rubber ducks. It does make it nice and easy. So yeah, basically I need to know the structure for the room that you're going to, and what room that is. That's why my initial thought was just to have a thing for each room that gets updated, but that seems excessive and scary. But it might be what I have to do. I can't really think of a better way for the code to know what room it has, or what was in that room. So, I kind of hate to do it like that, though. This might be something where I poke at it a little bit off stream. Okay. Let's look at some of the other considerations, and I'll pick through the one that I think is probably doable with what I know now. So there we go. We need to make sure that the pipes can be rebuilt. They need to be able to be rebuilt, and I think I already have it as such that the stats will persist. We're not gonna worry about buffers that might fill up just yet. Oh, very nice. Yeah, I think that what I'm doing is actually way simpler, potentially. But, yeah, if you have ideas for how to handle the recursive pipes, this has been my suffering for the time being. I see. Yeah, okay. But, yeah, if you have any, feel free to just, you know, plop an answer in the Godot thread that I have there. Or, you know, just, if you have any ideas on basically how I can make this work. The recursive pipe, so, I definitely covered it up in numbers and stuff, but where you have a splitter, it splits, and then eventually that same thing comes up here and back in. I guess if I draw it again, it's, you have the merger up there, it splits. Let's make it a little narrower of a split. It splits again, and then this guy comes back up. So this has kind of been my bane. I generally have it working for this, but there are a lot of really complicated edge cases that it doesn't necessarily work for. Like, oh god. It would be... Yeah. It's okay, jumping animal characters are fun. But yes, this kind of thing is where I'm having trouble, because right now the way the code works is it largely relies on me to think of every single case and put in something to check for it, and I don't think that's a good idea. Especially with something that could potentially crash the game via infinite recursion. So I want to find a more robust solution for this. And I just don't quite know how to go about it. But this is probably the last bit of basic factory stuff that I don't have a solution for yet. Of just how the heck do I handle the pipes going back in on themselves without crashing the game, and while correctly calculating how much is flowing through the pipes. So that's what's with all the numbers up here. But this is really important to be able to do, because it'll let you divide your resources into thirds instead of just halves and quarters. So I'd really like for people to be able to do stuff like this. And I don't have a good solution for that yet. So that's probably the big thing. That's why, you know, I've got all the code written over there. Very willing to take suggestions here up to, you know, uprooting basically everything I've done. So it's all good. But that's the big thing. And I'm just trying to go through and do some other stuff while I think about how I want to handle that. Alright. So. Room transfers. Okay. Yes, that is a different thing, correct. They are different. I'd say for basic factory building, this is what I haven't done yet. Everything else I'm very confident with. If you just do basic stuff and you don't do silly recursive pipe shenanigans, everything works great. And that's why I was saying, okay, you know what? Or even if you do silly recursive pipe shenanigans, as long as they aren't really, really cursed, it works fine. So that's why I was like, okay, this is the best I can do right now. I'm gonna need to think about how to actually properly implement this at some point. So let's go try to do something else. And, storing the factory layout so it can be rebuilt later is indeed an entirely separate issue. So that is the next thing. Being able to transition between rooms is the next thing, now that basic building the factory functionality is working. Yes. That's basically what happens right now. I mean, pressure isn't a thing I'm simulating. It's literally just, but yes. I guess I can explain roughly how it works. Again, I kind of I have all the code commented and explained in the thread there, but the basics is I store what is in each of the power sources in this guy, this little structure here, where we have the element and the amount. And, when you get to a splitter, I check to see if you need to split or not, basically. And if you do, I split it in half, and you keep going. And then, if there's a recursive bit, there are shenanigans. But I just feel like my current solution requires me to think, know what those shenanigans are. And that's why I say, if you got a good solution there, let me know. Yes, I know there's a lot of code, but what can you do? It's complicated. It's complicated. That's why I'm like... I spent the first hour explaining what all the code that did. So... I don't really want to do it again. But I'll be happy to answer any questions. So... in the meantime, I'm just going to be kind of rambling and starting on next steps, since the basic factory building part is as good as it's going to get for now. I will try to find a good solution for that at some point. Okay, so what other stuff has to happen for room transitions for the factory part? So the factory needs to be able to rebuild the pipes. It also needs to know what is going on in the pipes between rooms. And I already have a solution that I roughly like for this. Can treat transition pipes. That's what I'm calling them. They're going to be the transition pipes as a source. So right now, I just have these little guys here. Those are the sources you get your resources from. And I'm pretty sure that I can treat the pipe going between rooms as a source. But with a direction. So it needs to be a little bit special. Because these pipes are going to be one way. They can go out of this room or they can go into this room. And you can't have it doing both. So I just need to know how much resource is either going into that transition pipe. So how much resource, I'll call it element here, is going into the transition pipe. So how much element is going into the transition pipe? Or how much is coming out of it? So that means you can treat it as a source or a, I'll call it endpoint. Okay, so you either know how much is going out or how much is coming in. And I think that'll be relatively easy, because all I have to do is do the same thing that I do for the rest of the factory. So I'm gonna say... pretty much done. Except for knowing which direction the pipe is going. So I'll have to think about how to do that. Because pipes are one way here. They're not bidirectional. And that's important. So I think that covers that. And I'm not gonna... There's gonna be some shenanigans later that will require a bit more work. But I think that's about it there. And then for the player... need to know... how much energy is getting into phylacteries. Right now we have one, because, and it's always just been one, because you can only place one per room, and that was important, and considering we were only testing a single room, I only put one. But in the future, you're going to be able to place more than one. It's going to be another collectible you can find that'll let you place more. And so you can potentially have more than one. You can have another phylactery in another room. And so I need to know what is getting into each one in each room. So need to be able to do this from multiple rooms. Okay, so to an extent I need to know, you know, a general energy throughput. In each room, and also between rooms, because what's going into one of the phylacteries might actually be coming from a different room. In fact, this will be happening quite often. So that's pretty important. Okay. And then all of the other stuff is stuff with the player, which I guess I will talk about. Correct. Yep, that's about it. And, you know, there's no throughput limits, so, you know, as long as you have a pipe path, what gets there is happening immediately. So I don't need to worry about, you know, pressure or anything like that. It's, if you got a number, you got a number. Nice and easy. So it's all just math. I guess I can do a quick demonstration here. I won't use any complicated splitters or anything, but the basic gist, we have this little white square pulling stuff out of the resource patch. You put it through pipes, and then you get it into this red guy. And then once you can, you get to move. And here, so if I were to cut this, suddenly, I put a little bit of movement there, but you can see I'm moving at a snail's pace now. So you're suggesting a pathfinding solution? Because I think I'm doing okay, just calculating the path. But there we go, and then, you know, you can handle all that. It's very easy. This is the basics. Just right here. Okay. So let's see here. Yeah, and I mean, like I said, if you have specifics for how to update my current implementation to make more sense, works for me. You can just plop all the code in the thread and I'll take a look. Just let me know if you've posted something. More or less, yes. So, I do believe that's, you know, roughly what's happening, and that's why I'm saying, I don't really care about generalities at the moment. I'm looking for, like, very specific. Because I have, you know, something that's generally working. And, I don't mind retooling the whole thing, but I need to know how to retool it. Okay, let's see here. So this is fine. And then I think all the other stuff that I need to know between rooms all happens on the player. So, like, we need to do things like spawn the player in the new room. Make sure stats are updated according to the factory. And, you know, that's probably about it, really. Then, you know, there'll be some persistent stuff, like, do you have this power-up? Which collectibles have you gotten? I don't think that those need to go directly on the player, though. Some of the power-ups probably do. But that should all be relatively straightforward. And then things like, know which room to spawn. But that should be pretty straightforward. I'm not real concerned about that part. Because I'm pretty sure I can just add that to, like, a scene loader kind of thing. Okay. So which of these things do I want to try to tackle, or do I just want to do some minor other building things? Because I still don't have it so you can turn the grid on and off, and that might actually be easier here. I just have to refresh myself on how signals work. You know what? Sure, let's make the letter F work. I'm just kind of going around and trying to decide what I want to try to figure out live. And which things I'm just like, oh god, I'm gonna need to look up things. To find something that's hopefully not super hacky. Oh hi, I forgot that I handled all the build functions on the grid script, which, you know, is probably fine. All the input for that. Yeah, I think that's okay. So let's see, I think I will probably just steal most of this. I am already doing input though, aren't I? Yeah, I mean, of course, because the player can move. How do I do this? So we have that. Where do it's been so long since I've looked up my player script. I have to remember how it works. I have been working on factory stuff for like a month at this point. So let's see. Initialize velocity, okay. And then I'm guessing that I handle movement in move. Roughly. It's been a while. But, basically, I do find the path, and I'm pretty okay with it. It's just, updating the values onto it. Yeah. I mean, feel free to just, yeah, if, I know I've gotten a couple of responses in that thread since I last looked, but, anything that would be useful for handling this, because this is basically the only thing that's broken right now. I already handle everything with splitters, mergers, everything else, everything is fine. As long as you don't do this, everything works perfectly. So, yeah, if you have a algorithm and how it should be implemented in Godot to do specifically what I need to do here, whether that means I basically rewrite everything or not, yeah, feel free to plop that down. I'll take a look. Let me know when you're done. And then I can go and read it. Okay, in the meantime, I need to remember how my player works. Okay, so yes, it is handled here. I just got yield basic state machine here. It doesn't do a lot yet, but that's okay. Alright. So what I think I need to do, just on the player, I need to check for the F button being pressed. And that will turn the factory on and off. So that should be pretty easy. So I think I'll just steal what I did here because I am lazy. I'll just plop that into process. And this is gonna be, what did I call that? I don't remember. Well, it's fine, because I don't use AI to do anything, so I don't really care if the AI understands it or not. Okay, so F is... okay, build mode is what I called it. Okay. And with this... I guess we turn the grid on and off. How do we toggle things? Is visible. I thought it was is visible. Okay, I need to look up syntax for that. Show and hide node. Hell yeah, here it is. Okay. Alright, thank you. Yeah, it's like I have some familiarity with pathfinding stuff. I wasn't sure if pathfinding was appropriate here because I'm not doing anything based on collisions. It's literally just what tile am I putting a thing here and what tile am I getting from. And that was it. So that's why I did not do any proper pathfinding shenanigans. But if you think that a pathfinding solution makes more sense, I can take a look at it. Let's see. So show. Oh, so you can't tell it to show or hide. Okay, is there a way to toggle it? Okay. Okay, that works, I guess. Okay, so we want grid. Oh, do I want to do it like that? No, this is probably fine. So we'll do if grid what is it complaining about? But I put the okay, well, whatever. If a grid dot is it just is visible? Just syntactical stuff. Let's see. Oh, visible, not is visible. Okay. Grid dot visible. Okay, is false. We will grid dot show else grid. Oh, I get that right. Grid dot hide. Okay. So how does this do? Alright, perfect. Nice and easy. So yeah, I want all the sources and stuff to be hidden too, so this is perfect. This is exactly what I wanted here. And even when I hold the button down, it doesn't, like, panic, so that is also perfect. Alright. So I think that was the last of the major build things. So yeah, literally just, we gotta figure out how to transition between rooms. Alright. And you know what? I should make sure that I can actually build after hiding things again. I think I'm still gonna leave the default grid on for now because I'm still testing all this stuff. I am still testing to make sure that the building parts work. So now the part that I'm curious about, is this enough to not break? Oh, wonderful. Oh, but it's still showing the buildings. Okay, I gotta change where I am adding those then. Because, yeah, I want... No, I actually don't want them to be hidden. I just want the opacity to be lowered. Okay, where am I attaching these? Because... what I'm thinking right now... Do I even want... Maybe I shouldn't worry about opacity right now. This is gonna be one of those player feel things. I do think we probably want to lower the opacity at least a little bit. So my current thought is that it looks like, where am I adding them? It's been a little while since I've looked at this code, so get parent. Okay, so I'm putting him directly into testing room. That's probably fine. If I'm doing it like that, then I don't think I need to worry about rebuilding things when they leave the room, because it should just be part of the tree, right? So it should just happen. Because it's not like I dump things. Oh ho, okay. Maybe I don't need to reconstruct things then. Maybe it'll just work. Okay, that'll be cool. I'll probably need to get a... Yeah, man, I really want to test this, so... Okay. I think this might be where I go find, the guy whose tutorial I've been following occasionally for some of the basic things, like room transitions. So, you know, maybe I will do that. Let's see here. But for opacity... What I'm thinking about doing, because I think we might want to lower it down to maybe like 75% or maybe lower. I'll just pick a number. I think it'll be fine. In fact, I think I'll make it an export variable so we can make it nice and easy. So let's see, where do I want to put it? I'll just put my export variables on the top. Okay, and export var opacity changing. And it will be a... I'll just make it an integer. And I'll just make the default 75 for now. Okay. So when the building mode is down, or when the building mode is up, everything will be at 100% opacity. When the building mode is down, everything will be at a slightly lower opacity. So let's see, where do I want to handle that? Since I do show and hide on the player, I think I have to handle the opacity change there, actually. Okay. In that case, I don't want it here. Let's put this back. Okay, feels weird to do it on the player, but, I think that's where I want it. Okay. So I'm gonna add a new child here. I'm just gonna make it a nice little node friend. And I think I'm fine with putting it here. This will be buildings. And I will make it access as unique value, and so instead of a parent, we will just make this buildings, add child. So I don't think that'll break anything, but let's just make sure. Just so that this way I can reduce the opacity of the whole group when I want. Okay, perfect. So now they are all in there, in theory. And, So now we'll head back over to player here. And we'll add a new export here. Factory opacity. And we'll just make it default to 75 for now, and I'll change that if I feel like it. So when we have grid.show, we want buildings. Will there be... This should be safe, because I'll just have to make sure to put a buildings in there. And how do you change opacity again? What's the syntax for it? I don't remember. It's modulate, and then... A. Okay. Factory opacity. Okay, no, this should be 100%. And then... Okay, no, just 100. So that'll be 100%. And then here, I'll want it to be X, or factory opacity. And I do it before I hide the grid. This one I should do it, oh, no, it doesn't matter because it's not part of the grid. It should be fine. Let's see if it does what I want. We'll just make a nice little straight line there. No. Okay. Self-modulate? Does this not apply to children? Or did I do it backwards? No, I did it right. I could definitely believe that I would do things backwards. Still no. Okay. Okay, let's do it on node. And all children. Oh, change opacity on node children. Okay. How to reduce the opacity of an entire level. Sounds close enough. Oh, you have to do it as a canvas. Okay. So if I change you to... It doesn't really matter what you are, so... I know I can change it. Where is it? Change type. Canvas group. Okay. Does it work now? I'll just get this built real quick. No. I get the feeling that it's, doing it right. It's, or rather, this, value is all correct. But... I am just not doing it syntactically right. Or maybe this doesn't work the way I think it should. Oh, it's 0 to 0.1? Okay. So... I actually want this to be a float of 0.75 then. Okay, thank you! Okay, sometimes... Especially while I'm trying to stream. Things get odd. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Now it's kind of dim, a little bit dimmer. And I want the player to always be in front of this. So... I will plop the player at the bottom here. That actually seems important. Alright, there we go, and now you're in front. Okay, cool. We've talked a little bit about potentially letting you use your pipes as platforms, but I currently have mixed feelings about that, so I'll just let the player go through them for now. All is well. Oh yeah, I know, but this is fine. I think it's easy enough to just always add the player at the end, except for any foreground bits. And the foreground bits I can specifically do z-index shenanigans with, so I'm not really concerned about that. I think just doing it like this is fine for now. If I'm wrong, I can adjust it later. But I think this works. Oh yeah, don't worry, we'll be doing many things to make it pretty. Right now, you know, as always, I just want it to look as ugly as humanly possible. Is it gonna load for me? There we go. Yeah, it's gotta be super ugly. I mean, that's why the grid doesn't even go all the way to the edge. I want it to look really bad. Exactly. But you know, all of this is still placeholder stuff. I want to get the gameplay itself working before I go and worry about graphics and making it pretty and whatnot. And I think it's a pretty good policy. So, deliberately making things as ugly as possible for now. You know, just like this big circle around the player, you know, that'll be invisible. A lot of the time. In fact, while they... I have to remember what I called it, but while the grid is off, I should turn that collision off too. So let's get, build area. Dot show. And build area. Dot hide. You know, that's the point. That should be showing and hiding too. Oh, whoops. Someday I will set a root node. I just haven't felt like it. And there we go. So now this is exploration mode, and then you have build mode, and now you know where you'll be able to build once I decide to turn that feature back on. I already have this working. Technically, you're only supposed to be able to build on this black circle, but I have it turned off because it's annoying as hell for testing. So I'll turn it back on later. But yeah, that'll be how that works. So now, at least, we can have build mode on and off. And that'll be cool. Alright. So I think that's most of the super basic stuff. So let's revisit some more complicated stuff. I kind of want to see if the factory just stays and I don't have to be worrying about how to rebuild it like I thought I was going to have to last week. Because that'd be fantastic, but no, legit. I think I don't have to. I think with the way that I have it built, I just don't have to. It'll just be there. It'll just be part of the room forever and ever. So I have to remember how to transition the player between rooms, and I sure don't. So, let me find my friendly tutorial creator, and I'll go through his stuff. So, just to properly credit the person that I'm using the tutorial from, we have... This is from Michael Games. I'll be using some of his code. And you can find his channel here. He has some nice tutorials. I'm taking some code from his Metroidvania series. So there you go. Go check him out if you are looking to do some of these things too. Let me find where the scene transition is. I'm keeping things simple. I don't want to reinvent the wheel if I don't have to. And I have watched his tutorial on scene transitions. Looked pretty good to me. So I think I'm pretty cool with using it. I just need to find the actual video here. Hey, this is where personally I prefer written tutorials, because then I can just keep them open and I don't have to worry about shenanigans. Yes! And that's why I say it's going to be very straightforward. I just don't remember how to do it. And I guess I should probably give the player a camera too. That probably is important. I'd been holding off because it made testing the factory stuff easier, but I'll just give him a super zoomed out camera for now. Let's do that. Add camera. That should be okay. You can see I've been very, very focused on getting all the factory stuff totally correct before I go ahead and do some of the other stuff. Just because, frankly, the factory stuff is easier to test, and it is also just really, really core to it. Have the rooms next to each other? Well, I mean, if I put them all in the same scene, then won't loading times, or, you know, loading issues be a thing? That I'd have to have the entire freaking game loaded at all times. And I mean, that does work with my idea of, wanting to have, what's the word? Everything, calculating, but... Well, yeah, but every room's gonna have a pipe connected to the other rooms. Every single one! I'd literally have to have the entire game. Yeah, I could definitely do a chunk-based thing. I actually did look into that, and it didn't look any easier than just using new scenes. At least for what I'm doing. Because, I mean, you still have to know what's going on at the complete other end of the factory. I still have to know what pipes are going between rooms, because it's possible that you're gonna have, the source giving, from, you know, a room 20 rooms away, giving to the room that you're currently in. Alright. Yeah, so I did look into doing it piecewise, but it didn't look any easier for what I was trying to do for it. Because I still have to know what's going on in the entire factory at all times. And the factory is literally the entire dungeon. You can put things anywhere. In theory.
Hi, everybody.
Oh. Wait, why is it not muted? How odd. There you go. Got to hear a little bit of, Tutorial Man, as I've been calling him. Okay. So I'm just gonna page through this real quick. And while I try to remember how to do all this, it's been a while since I did this. I wasn't actually expecting to... Yes. Yeah, precisely. So that's why I went with this one, because then, you know, we can just keep each room doing its thing, and I can, let each room have its own grid, and various things like that. And I'm already starting to dig this, because I don't think I'm actually gonna have to rebuild the factory anymore. I think it just because I'm already doing it via add child, that it's just gonna be there. It'll just be there. It'll be part of the scene. So, I'm already liking this solution. I think it'll be great. Okay. I'm not gonna worry about level bounds yet. So camera is literally just like, why is it not muting? Oh man, that's awkward. Okay, so even with the sound completely down, it is not modulating that. Okay, that's gonna make it really awkward to use this, but I think it should be okay. Well, we'll see how it goes. Okay. So let's see, is my camera centered properly? I believe so. Yeah, it looks like it. Okay. But yeah, I did explore many different ideas for how to structure the dungeon, because I was really hoping for, since I need to calculate so many things outside the room that you're in, that I was hoping that there was a better way to do that than all the shenanigans that I feel like I have to pull right now. And unfortunately, just not really the case, as far as I can tell. So this is the best one I've been able to find. I am, you know, like I said, inexperienced with Godot, so it is. Absolutely. And they have to. They do have to. That's some of the stuff I was talking about earlier when I was talking about what I was going to do with, you know, all of this stuff. And why I need to be able to do a lot of those things. So, that'll be interesting. That's gonna be the next thing to figure out, I think. So, I'm gonna get started on that today. I'm gonna make it so that the player can transition rooms in theory. So, it'll be looking at Tutorial Man here. Yes, I almost certainly will. I'm not sure if resources are the right thing here, but they are certainly a reasonable thing. It's okay. This is why I don't think I want to explore that option on stream. I think I need time to dig through documentation. But yeah, if you have things for me to look into, yeah, feel free to suggest it. Resources is definitely one. I think, yeah, you know what? I might as well talk about the biggest challenge that I think I'm gonna have to face here. I'll leave this up. Buffers! Those are gonna kill me. Need to know when buffers fill up so that splitters can so that sources can turn off. This has to happen even when they're off screen. Because if your stuff isn't going anywhere, if your resources aren't going anywhere, everything stops. That resource no longer gives you anything, even if it's yeah. So this is important. I need to know when they fill up. And this is the functionality that I'm currently the most worried about. Buffers are not going to be in the kind of tutorial area, the demo that I'm working on getting started like as quickly as possible. They're not going to be in it, but I'm still going to implement them ahead of time because I have to get them working, and if I can't, then we need to seriously reconsider some things. But yeah, I need to know when they fill up. And I also need to know when recipe changes. So, later you're going to get some recipes. This is why you're going to want to have buffers. And there is going to be a certain part of your factory. There's basically going to be people working for you. And, they go around your factory to your buffers and change some things in them. and thus give you kind of some new resources. This is how you're gonna get elements beyond the basic 4. One is confirmed to be blood, I think. And you're gonna be able to do some special stuff with that, and certain ones of your power-ups are gonna be based on recipes. And they do not come from the ground. They come from your friendly workers and changing stuff in your buffers. And so we need to know when they change. And calculations for let's call stats are based on quote-unquote science per minute, to use factory terms. So, tentatively, this is how we plan to do it. So this basically means that if you're relying on being able to suck up lots and lots of energy that's just going to go to a dead end and fill up a buffer, that it may not be as effective as you think. Because we're going to be calculating it over time. It's just the thing is that if you have a somewhat fluctuating factory, it would mean that your stats are changing like every few minutes, and you're going to be like a different speed every few minutes, and that sounds like suffering. So we're going to try our best to make it so that it's a little bit more even, and it's not constantly fluctuating. And so we want to kind of do it based on your quote-unquote science per minute, to use the Factorio term, as opposed to the value as it is right now. And that'll be a thing. So this is some of the stuff I'm worried about. To give you an idea, we absolutely have to be calculating things that are happening off-screen at all times. It is of the most vital importance. The game will feel real bad if we don't. So these are a lot of things that we thought about. Oh no. The Factorio is fun. Blue science is where things get interesting. So, yes. This stuff is going to be scary, and even though a lot of this isn't really going to be in the initial tutorial, I'm going to implement it anyway, because it's really important for the rest of the game. The rest of the game won't function without this, so. It's okay, fluids aren't scary. We're building the entire game here around fluids. They're okay. Okay, now where was I? Right, I was looking at level bounds. I don't know, do I want to deal with level bounds right now? What is this in? This isn't a global script, right? No, this isn't. This is the first room. Okay. Oh yeah, currently, you know, not dealing with any graphical stuff, so that's why I'm like, do I feel like dealing with all that? I don't know if I do. I don't actually know what this script is attached to. I don't think it's attached to anything right now. Okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna worry about, well, it might be nice to have. I guess I might as well. No. Add level bounds. Oh, is level bounds just a node? Wait, is it? You can tell. I haven't done much with Godot. Is level bound just a thing? Oh no, I see. That's a thing he made. Okay. I understand now. I was like, wait. Okay. I see. Okay. Okay, so this is all about level bounds. Okay, I'm not gonna worry about it too much. I will put the camera in, but frankly, you know what I said about enjoying the scuff? Yeah, I kind of dig it. It's okay, there's 0 conveyor belts here, only pipes. Wee. Okay, maybe I don't want it to be quite that scuffed. I probably want a little bit of Y-based level bound. I have splitter rules actually in the comments of the code. Let me show you where it is. It's gonna be in the 4th function. I believe, yeah. So, splitter rules are right here. Scroll over so I can... Okay, I can't. We'll do it like this. There you go. Now all of it can fit there. This is all of the splitter rules. So, basically, if they both reach an endpoint, you split it in half. But if only one side reaches an endpoint, the other side is a dead end. You don't split it in half. You treat it like a normal pipe. Everything flows in the other way. And if neither of them reach an endpoint, then you just have a dead end and you ignore it entirely. No values get added. Nothing goes inside. Dead ends don't get numbers. They are always 0. So that's why I have to check all the paths. I actually can't remember off the top of my head how Factorio handles fluid. I'm pretty sure you can have dead end fluids and it's fine. And I guess there's one more thing. Multiple resources can go in each pipe. Yes, well, somewhat. I do have splitters working as long as they don't recurse. As long as they don't do this. So as long as the splitter doesn't feed back into the merger that fed it earlier, they work okay. So if we just have this friendly thing, this is okay. This works perfectly. It's only this that is a problem. Where the splitter feeds back into itself. And then you can I realize my handwriting is super messy here, but this is a rough scale of how it works. So say we start with 200. It goes down, and it'll get split here to 100 and 100. And then down here split again into 50 and 50. Then 50 goes back up and around it in, and so now we have 250 coming in. And then the 250 comes down. It gets split into 125 and 125. And then down here it gets split again into 75 and 75. And then 75 comes back up again. And then we have 275 coming in. You know, the 200 from the initial source, and then the 75 from the recursive pipe. And then it goes down. And then you get, 68, or 137.5. And that's split again into 68.75. And then 68.75 comes up here. And, you know, it keeps going. And eventually I tell it, hey, once you've done it enough times, more or less, stop. You're close enough. All is well. That's why I say rounding is fine. But we can have some rounding. I do it to... like, 1,000th of the original source. So the rounding will scale with how big the numbers get. And, that'll mean that it loops roughly 10 times before we get the final value. But this is how it should behave. And this is assuming that all of these lead somewhere, that none of these are dead ends. If, say, this one was a dead end, if we made, this guy here a dead end, then all of it would flow this way. And instead of having this split into 100 and 100, it would, all 200 would go this way, and then it would split into 100 and 100 at this point. Okay, so the scenario here that I was describing, we have the merger, and it goes into a splitter. If this splitter leads into a dead end, then all of the flow goes this way. So instead of splitting into 100 and 100, 200 would go this way, assuming we're starting with 200 over here. All 200 would then go this way, where then this splitter, assuming that this one leads somewhere, and it is not a dead end, would split it into 100 and 100. If it was a dead end, if this is also a dead end, then the 200 would come down. It would not split this way because this one doesn't lead anywhere, and so all 200 would go this way. And then once again, we get to this splitter. If this one is a dead end, and it doesn't lead into an endpoint, then all 200 goes back up and around. So that's the basic idea. Everything is evenly divided, unless there's a dead end. And if there's a dead end, then it all goes the other way. Now, say that we have our 200 here. This is... this one leads to somewhere. Let's say that there's a box here and a box here. And these are the endpoints. In which case, it would get split here. And then when we go down here, it would look to see if it needs to split. It does not. So we'd have the 100 and the 100. And then, since this one is a dead end, all 100 goes here. And this one, since this one goes to the end, and this one also reaches an end, we split. So this would become 50 and 50. So that's how pipes work. You divide it in half always, unless there's a dead end. In which case, the flow goes to the side that is not a dead end. All of it does. So this would have 0. Yes. And that's how they work. Or at least how they should. But yeah, while I'm looking at some other stuff, I'll go ahead and leave this up on screen so you can see all the splitter rules. This is why I'm having trouble. It's really, really complicated. Yeah, so if I bring up my paint, or basically what would happen is we get, this here. So gradually, the difference between the two, because, the first loop through, we went from 200 to 250. That was a 50 difference. The second loop through, we went from 250 to 275, so that's a 25 difference. And, it gets smaller every time. Yes. Yes. That is correct. This is, the easiest way to split things into thirds. The problem... and why I don't just say, hey, just divide by 3, because I did want to do that. That was my first thought, because that would have been so wonderful and easy. Let's move this over here, is that if you get, an abomination, use the brush, I guess. Or you get something like this, so you have the initial, and then, let's put another merger right here, so this is also a merge. And then it goes down, and then we get the splits. Comes on up, and it comes on up, and everything breaks. So no, you can't just divide. I tried. I tried so hard. I really wanted to make it work, but... Look, if you get some serious... I want to be prepared for the most abomination-filled factory possible. And this has kind of been my suffering. Yeah, let's just pretend like they go somewhere and they're not dead ends. Yeah. So this is basically why it was done in a way of just like, okay, let's anticipate the scenarios. And, oh man. My husband, when he was testing it, made abominations I never thought possible, and he found new and exciting ways to break everything I did every day. He's very creative. Yes. There's two, but I mean, we can make more. We can make as many as you want. We can even do this. If you really wanted to. Why not? You'd probably need another merger in order for this one to make sense, but it's theoretically possible. You think Twitch is dying? Oh no. Let's see. Looks like things are fine on my end. I don't see any dropped frames. I'm just, laughing and sighing very hard, so it's, But yeah, things look fine on my end. I just, I let out a very loud sigh. Dying horse noises. Okay. Thank you for the help, by the way. Because if I can find a more robust way to handle some of this, you know, that would honestly be great. It is. Oh, that's really unfortunate. Because, yeah, OBS's I'm not dropping frames. Does Twitch say that my bitrate is bad? No, bitrate looks pretty stable. Yeah, things look pretty okay on my end. I'll just keep talking. So, let me know when things seem more stable and I can try to answer questions again. So I'll just keep babbling until Twitch seems to be okay, just so that this way it'll be easy to tell if things are working or not. Thank you again for all the help, because this issue, my god, I am finding the level of shenanigans and all of this pretty tricky. I think that, you know, if things were just going to be like this and if I could trust it, then I think that would be okay. I definitely want to make it so that people can do this part. Really, can I make my cursor a little bit bigger? Because that might make things... Yeah, there we go. So this part here is probably one of the most important things, because this would let you divide things into thirds instead of into quarters and halves, and that seems pretty important to be able to do. So that's why 100% I do want to allow for recursive pipes, and I don't want the game to just say, no, this is a recursive pipe, stop it. I do actually want people to be able to do that, and I feel like if I'm allowing it like this, I should allow any kind of abomination. I think being able to make abominations in your factory game and being able to make the ultimate spaghetti factory and just make it as hideous as humanly possible is an admirable goal for any factory designer. So I think it would be just a shame if I didn't allow players to do that. So I want to be able to be prepared for any kind of stupidity that they want to put out there, and I want to encourage it. Do whatever you think makes your factory the most beautiful to you. That is the kind of thing I want. Okay, awesome. Okay. But, yeah. I want them to be able to make whatever kind of monstrosity makes them happy. And I want it to calculate the numbers correctly. And the number calculation will be pretty important, because one thing that I want to do in the future, I'm still rambling somewhat, so feel free to ask questions, just making sure that Twitch is stable here. But one thing that I would like to be able to do in the future when it's time to make things pretty is I want to be able to update the graphics as such for when there's lots and lots and lots of power running through things. It'll like glow with the element color, and it'll go like and have particle effects everywhere, and it'll be fantastic. And that'll be based on the amount of stuff running through things. So I do actually kind of want to keep track of that in the each pipe segment. So that's why I'm putting things in each individual pipe. Yes. I described the main thing where it matters is, you know, that bit that I described there. And I also want to make it so that if the player clicks on a pipe, they click on it, they can see what's running through it. So if I say, let's do one where I have numbers. If I clicked on this part here where it's feeding into the merger, they'd see 200. Or if, you know, let's do the friendly one here. We haven't quite decided how we want to display it for the recursive pipes yet. So, because that's going to require a little bit of shenanigans. But if, say for this friendly one, we had 200 coming out here, I'd want you to be able to click here and see 200. And I'd want you to be able to click down here and see 50. So that's kind of the only place where it matters individually. And if it's just getting to places, that's where it matters the most. But I do kind of want people to be able to click on things and see what's happening in the factory. Unbalanced in what sense? Because for this structure here, assuming that all of these reach endpoints, this should split evenly to them. And if it doesn't reach an endpoint, yes, they can be unbalanced. That is absolutely true. One of my test scenarios that I got working and was very proud of, let me close this for a second, was, oh, that's right. You know what? I'm gonna disable the camera for a second. Go away. Oh man, it's still there. What the hell? Okay, you know what? Forget cameras then. Well, we'll do cameras later. The cameras don't exist anymore. Okay. How did I make this look again? It was like splitting like this. Oh wait, these are mergers. No wonder it feels weird. Okay. There we go. And then my turn pipes here. But I think this is a good example. So if we have, say, our phylactery friend here, and then we add some vaporizing here. It looks like it's not working anymore, so that's unfortunate. But, basically what happens, or no, it is, isn't it? No, it's not. Anyway, so what should happen here is that we have 200 in this source. It gets split here into 100 and 100. So 100 will go down to this splitter, and 100 will go to this splitter. 50 goes up here. 50 goes in here. and 50 goes in here, and then 50 goes in here again. So this one has 100, these have 50. And I'm sad that everything is broken since I last checked it, but you know, this is exactly why I was really, really concerned about the algorithm that I was using. It doesn't work. Anyway, but yeah, so this one should have 50, this one should have 100, and this one should have 50. If it's working correctly, that's what should happen. So, yes, it could be unbalanced. You can send whatever you want into various places. And you can also, let's see, do things like this, where if you put in a second source, let's have it merge like right here, I guess. And don't worry, this is working correctly. Like I said, I like making things really, really scuffed for testing. But this is fine. And then you can combine two sources. So now there's 200 in here, there's 200 in here. So it'll combine right there to bring the 100 that was split from here up here. And combine with the 200 from up here, and then come over here and split here. So this would be 300, and it'll split into 150, 150, and then this one will get the 100 coming from here, split into 50 going down here, 50 going up here. So this one would have 200. And that's the kind of thing that has to happen. So, the good news is that I found that if you calculate each extractor pulling from the source directly, it all works out. Mathematically, it all works out. So you can calculate one at a time. I have not found a single situation, even with the recursive pipes, where this is not true. So it is totally safe to calculate each extractor separately. And the only thing making things complicated is nightmares. That's it. It's just being able to do terrible, terrible things. To be able to inscribe ancient runes within your factory that just summon abominations from hell. That is the problem. It's just recursive pipes. Everything else I feel so good about. If we just had friendly pipes like this, everything would be fine. But this just complicates things so hard. Hello there, Justine. Welcome. Oh, I'm doing quite well. Overall, I'm very happy with the progress that I made this week, and we were discussing making a factory-based abominations with recursive pipes. It's terrible! It's terrible! I can't figure out how to make it work! I mean, I guess strictly speaking, I was able to get this much working, but once you start getting into stupid nonsense like this... No. It's hard. And I don't know how to make it work. So that's my current struggle, and then, you know, I've just been putting the occasional little touches onto things here. Right now, we're figuring out room transitions. Oh, so, you know, so far so good. So far so good. And... oh, man. But yeah, so right now I'm kind of looking into screen transitions, and I might do some stuff with cameras. And some very nice people are trying to help me figure out nightmare recursive pipes. It's random stuff. I hate it. So, you know, it's always nice when there are very nice people willing to help, or at least be a nice friendly rubber ducky. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, so while I'll probably be stopping to talk about nightmare pipes every so often, but while I have a chance, I'm gonna go look at camera stuff. So I figured that might be nice to do. Let's see. You know, sure. So I have a friendly tutorial that I'm following. I plugged the creator of the tutorial earlier, but I'll go ahead and do it again. So I'll be for some camera bounds and screen transition stuff. I'll be following this guy's tutorial. He does some nice stuff. So definitely go check him out if you like. So let's just go create a nice script here. I'm not doing stuff with buildings right now. We're taking a break from buildings for once. So we'll go plop it into levels. And this will be level bounds. So we'll just have a nice little script there. And this will help me do level bound stuff. That's right. I can't mute him. Okay. Let's see. So let's try to get a little bit more done here. The game is going well overall, and I have most of the factory-based stuff, so that's why I say screen transitions. I think I want to do next, because I have to worry about making sure that the factory stays between rooms, for one, and for two, that, what's the word? Things are still calculated properly when that's off-screen. So that's basically my next concern. Just make sure that things are calculating okay. Okay. Alright, so let's give this a lovely class. And I guess I could extend node, I guess that's fine. Oh, it actually needs to extend node TD, not node. That's actually important. Okay. So give me a moment to just kind of scroll through here. I'm gonna hold off on adding a camera to the player just yet, because I want to be able to go back into the game as it is. Once I get the level bounds working a little more sanely, I'll add the camera. So, let's see. Export, arrange, okay. And I'm just following a little tutorial off screen. So let's see, my screen is probably going to be a bit bigger than his because he's doing stuff in pixel art and I will not be. So, I don't know, what did he use? For width, let's go with, yeah, sure, we can do 480 again, and then for the width, let's do maybe 1200. I think that'll be fine for my initial test level here. I don't actually know what half these numbers mean. What are the hints? Okay, show me what you got. Step. Okay, yeah, sure. 32 sounds fine. And pixels. All right, and okay, and then I'm guessing this is for height. Yeah. All right. So mine is probably actually smaller than it should be, but you know what? I'll leave it there for now. Well, you know, I like keeping things scuffed when everything is placeholder, so this is fine by me. So let's see, width. I'm not actually sure how he's determining that number, but it's the first one as... Okay, and then we do the same thing except height. I think I want my height to be a bit smaller, so I guess I'll just leave it at like 800. And, he actually left his the same if I recall. 2048. Do I stream every day? I stream Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Thursday, I do programming streams for the game that I'm developing. On Friday, I do a game stream. Right now, we're playing lots of Metroidvania since I am developing a Metroidvania. Tomorrow, we will be doing a Crypt Keeper, or Crypt Custodian. We'll be starting that game. I've never played it before, and I'm kind of looking forward to it. I played Sheepo and really liked it by the same developer. So, looking forward to that. And then on Saturday, I do an art stream. Right now, I'm doing some VTuber fan art. Did I make it by myself? I'm using a Godot game engine. So, kind of. The game engine helps, but it is, you know, my original game, so yeah. Yeah, and right now we're still in the early stages, so everything looks really, really bad. But that's okay. It's how it should be. Okay, cool. I don't need anything. I make my own stuff. No, thank you. I am an artist. I make my own stuff, and I'm cool with that. All right. You too. Thanks for stopping by. Let's see here. So, from here... Let's see, where do I want to go from here? Humu. So now we have the basics of the height and the width. So let's see what Tutorial Man says we gotta do next. I think I put in the wrong number somewhere. No. I'll adjust those numbers. I don't know what I want them to be yet. It's fine. I'm not gonna worry about it. Okay. Alright, so we're gonna have a ready function. Okay, and not gonna worry about it. I'll fill it in when he does. And then we're gonna have a draw function. Let's get the level bound set up, because why not? Actually, he put something in there. Let's do that now. If engine does dot is editor hint. Okay. And we'll deal with that later. Okay. Oh no, he deals with this right now. Okay, cool. Okay. I wish he didn't call it R. I'm not sure what this variable is supposed to be. Okay, no, it's a rectangle, and it is vector 2, okay. Oh no, it's a rectangle, that's right. Rectangle, vector 2, and dot 0, and vector 2, width and height. Sounds good to me. Okay. And then we draw it. Okay, easy enough. Right? Correct. Okay. Before we go there is... I just wish I could mute it. Because I don't want it to be going over my music, because that's sad. Okay, well, I'm assuming that is correct. Anyway, oh no, he's just showing the documentation, that's why. Our colors... Yeah, sure, I'll pick a blue. Okay, then the color... And... Can I just pick it? Awesome. Sure, I'm good with the light blue. Light blue sounds good. We'll pick this one. It's a nice seafoam. And... false. Width. I already have a width in there. Do I need anything? Do I need the others? Give me a moment to just find what my friendly guide is putting in there. Okay, no, it looks like he's talking again. Or no, he's putting something in there. God, it's so awkward that I can't mute it. Okay, give me just a sec. Okay. There we go. 3. I just needed the number that was going there. Okay. Let me see here. Where am I going with this? Let's find out. So, I'm probably gonna have to head out soon, but I'll see if I can get this working real quick. Okay. Then what, you just flop in level bounds? Alright. And it goes on the room. Okay, that makes sense. So each room can have its own level bounds. And everything is fine? Yeah, everything is fine. Okay. So we plop that there, and then he's doing another thing. Z index is 25. So I'm guessing that'll just keep it always on top. I think this only shows up in the editor. And that's fine. If you're looking at the editor, you probably do just want to keep it up there. So that this way it can be adjusted. Okay, and then I can just plop it wherever I want. Okay, cool. Oh no, he's making it higher than that. Okay. What else do you do, friendly tutorial man? What else do you have here? Okay, you changed the width. Okay. I just want to see the whole script, so this way I can just type it. Okay, so we do that for width and height. On width, change. New width. And we'll use my preferred casing. And returns void. Let's just do that so this way it doesn't yell at me. I don't need people yelling at me right now. I don't need that in my life at the moment. So let's see here. Width is equal to new width. And that's the global width is the global variable we have up at the top, I believe, right? Yep. Okay, so width equals new width. And then Q redraw. All right. And then we just do the same thing with height. And I'll change all the letters just so that this way it's easier to read. Okay. And then from there, set, okay, on width and on height. Is that the syntax for that? I haven't actually used very many getters and setters here. Set equals on with changed, and set equals on height change. Perfect. Okay, so now I assume you can move it around and stuff. Okay, awesome. So let's do that. Let's go over here. Now we have a friendly seafoam box, and I should be able to change its size. How do I scale? Level bounds? I guess that's not how you do it. Okay. I don't actually know how big some of these things are. This one... 1200 should be enough. Can I adjust this more sanely? Or do you really want me to have... Okay. Well, I'll just set the values. I kind of want to get it all the way to the edge there, so this is... what did I have set for the width of things? I think it was somewhere around this. Oh, hell yeah, I remember the number. And I won't let it go off screen for the time being. And height... What was it? I don't actually remember what the height was, so I'll just estimate. $800 a bit too big. Yep. 650. A little bit less. No, I want the floor in there, so I guess that works. And so now if I add the camera to the player, do I no longer hate life? Let's find out. Let's find out. That seems fine. So let's go run this and... No, not yet. Okay. We still hate life a little bit, but here are... It's okay. We'll see if Friendly Tutorial Man can help me out here. Okay. Let's see. Oh, he's drawing another rectangle. Why? I'm not sure. Reference to the camera. Okay. So what was he updating here? I don't quite know. So, you know what? I'll keep going and I'll see if I can figure it out. Okay. Alright, so... We're going to get a camera, and it looks like, if I am understanding the code here correctly, that... if we're in the editor, you don't do anything. So I get this, and if this is the case, we return. And otherwise... So we get out of there, and then we just try to get a camera, so... var camera is a camera 2D. And then from here... Well, not camera, await, get tree, process frame. While not camera... Await, get tree, process frame. Okay. So make sure everything loads. Get tree dot process frame. Alright. Camera is get viewport. Just get viewport, okay. Alright. Get camera 2D. All right. You know, I'm glad that there are so many good Godot tutorials out there. Because it's like I am familiar with programming, but oh my god. There's a lot to learn when it comes to specific game engines. And I feel like I've been able to pick it up pretty quickly. It's all pretty straightforward, but might have to mute for a second again. Give me just a moment here. Okay. So, talking about properties. Limit. Okay, so he changed it to a really big number, it looks like. Let's see. Okay, so if we go in here, and I go back over to the camera, there's going to be a thing that lets me limit it. Okay, it's on. Okay, we got really big numbers here. Okay, so those are the default numbers. I understand now. So he's talking about that. Limit left. Okay. I'm just gonna wait for the script to kind of finish. Okay. I think I got the basics here, so this is where the camera actually gets limited. So let's head back into the script. And now we do camera. Limit left. I only kind of know what this is doing, but I get the gist. Equals global position. Okay. Dot X, and then we just keep going. Dot limit. Which one did he do next? Bottom, I assume? Or no, top. Oh, left. Oh no, he just hasn't changed the... I see. So I'm guessing that... Let me wait until I see how this is done. Okay, so I'm guessing that this is about the end. And so... set this to null at first. And that feels weird to me, but this is what he was doing. We'll see if he changes it a little bit later in the tutorial. Y camera dot limit right. That's why I say that this one feels weird to me. I'm assuming that one's the top. Equals int global position dot x plus width and height. Okay, and camera dot limit equals int global position dot y plus height. All right. So I think that's about it there, and I'm assuming that this is supposed to be top, and it's bothering me, so I'm just gonna do it like that for now. I'm guessing that he's gonna come back and change it, because something's not right. Yes, okay. Okay. All right, and so I should have limits here. Let's see if it looks good. Oh, it would help if I used the right scene. Hell yeah! And we still get the grid properly cut off. It makes me very happy every time I see this. So there we go. Now there's a camera. All right, and let's see here. As much as I'd love to keep going, I do think, unfortunately, I probably should stop here. I probably should have stopped a little while ago, but I saw there were lots of people and I was very excited, so I wanted to try to finish something. But so there we go. We got camera limits and stuff. And hopefully I'll be able to figure out recursive pipes. Like I said, everything is working well enough that I think I'm ready to work on getting everything else right and make sure that we can transition between rooms. So I think for next week, I want to start getting room transitions going, and we can finally see if everything will stay like I expect it to. And, you know, maybe if I'm feeling good about things and I'm able to get that done pretty quickly like I expect, since I have a friendly tutorial I can follow, that I will just be able to maybe even get some save functionality going so that I can save certain building structures and make testing cursed pipe structures easier for me. Because some of them take a really long time to build. Yeah, in order to test things properly. But yes, I suppose I should stop here for today. And yeah, we got some things working. That's yeah, so now there's level limits here. I can tell that it's working because the camera's no longer going through the it's showing a different part of the floor now. It's showing the entire floor, and it's no longer showing like half the screen being below the floor. So I can tell it's working. And that's wonderful. So we'll be able to make levels of whatever size we want. I've already got it so that the grid can scale. I've tested that, and we got a second room going. So now I just gotta connect them. Oh, I'm so excited, man. I am so looking forward to getting this done. Working on this has been an absolute joy. Even when I'm dealing with the stuff of complete nightmares like this. Even when I'm doing stuff like this. It's been an absolute joy to work on. So, yeah, I'll work on a little bit of stuff off stream throughout the week. And, you know, we'll probably have some room transitions going next week, and I'll explain how I built everything. Hell yeah. But I suppose that I should stop here for today. Gonna play some more Metroidvanias tomorrow for proper inspiration for when it's time to actually do some level design. That won't be for a while, but I'm looking forward to it. And then, you know, Saturday, more drawing. But for today, I think this is where I should stop. So thank you all for coming, and I hope you're able to make something wonderful today. I will see you all tomorrow. Let's go find someone to raid on Twitch, because I still don't know how to do it on YouTube. Let's see, do we have any VTubers doing stuff in Godot today? Let's find out. Let's see. Doesn't look like it. I always like to try to raid people working in Godot. Or at the very least, looks like there might be some, but not in English. Okay. Sure, looks like we got a VTuber coding and something. It actually does look kind of like Godot, so let's go here. Enjoy, and thank you, Protox. I hope you enjoy your day too. See you later. Thanks for stopping by.
Wait, I